Thank you, Corey. I would like to, first of all, recognize Mandy. She's a great speaker. If you haven't taken pages and pages of notes on what she said, then you're just wasting your time. She really knows what she's doing, and 7 to 7 Dental is super successful. And I'm not just saying that because I just got an honorary doctorate degree from them, but thank you, Mandy, for that. I don't know if that means I get a raise now that I'm a doctor, but thank you for that. There's been a lot of people speaking at this conference. You've heard a lot of different views of different things. I love our company. We have 27 people, including Dr. and Ashley Smith here today, and I am absolutely beaming with pride to be on the stage and represent them because they're the ones that have made this success happen. It hasn't been me. I'm just lucky to be a part of it. I'm very grateful to them, and grateful to be here today. I'd like to call out Trista in our Athens office. She told me yesterday, you know you're speaking right before a break, so you better not go over. Well, they just let me know that it's an hour from the time I start, so you can set it now. I'll try not to go over. I'm going to try and get through my presentation and leave some time for questions at the end. There have been a lot of good questions. This is the third conference I've been to, and there have been more questions, and I think they're great questions. I think, as John says, there's no bad questions, and I think sometimes people like Justin or Mandy or maybe even sometimes me, for us, we do these small and simple things that seem easy, but you guys have sincere questions why it's not so easy for you. And so I'd like to sincerely, hopefully, do a better job to try and answer some of them if possible. So starting with the presentation. Oh, I'm on the screen. Hi. So that's me. My history. I wanted to be a dentist when I was in 10th grade. I'm one of the weird nerds. I loved organic chemistry. I loved calculus. In college, everybody hated me because my second calculus class, I got 100 on the final and there was no curve. So it's lucky that I'm still alive today. But I was running my own business while I was taking the study courses for the DAT, and I was making so much money as a 20-year-old kid in business, I was like, forget about it. But eventually, going into healthcare and the orthopedic spine world 2 years ago, I finally was able to get back to dental. So our company, Smith Dental Care, Dr. Smith, he got his license in 1993, started working in Hartwell, Georgia, and finally founded Smith Dental Care in 1998. We are all about our patients. We are all about our customers, and you'll find out customers are more than patients. And later we'll talk a little bit about customer company build trust and what that is. So it started with Hartwell, Georgia, and then about 30 minutes up the road, Dr. Smith opened in Anderson, South Carolina, and then, these are out of order. Lilburn was next in about 2016, and then Athens in 2018. Savannah's under construction. We're very excited. We have a 12-op practice down in Savannah, hopefully to be open by the end of November. Depends on the builder and materials. And then Winder, Georgia, lawyers tend to slow things down, but hopefully that'll be done by the end of this year as well. Oh, I guess we had that all there. So Dr. Smith's success. So, I had on here originally that when I started with Smith Dental Care, Dr. Smith was working 5 days a week. And when I say 5 days a week, that was 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. as a dentist. And then in addition to that, he was also the CFO, the CEO, the HR director, the complaint department, all that sort of stuff. And then Ashley Smith, who's here, Dr. Smith's wife said, actually it was more like 6 to 7 days a week when he first was doing Hartwell and Athens. I had the opportunity to meet Dr. Smith, almost 7 years ago at this point, and he was going to try and hire me, and we thought we had things worked out, and I ended up taking a big job in the big city in Atlanta. And after about 3 years, I knew it was time to move, go on to something else, and something told me on Tuesday when I decided that I was going to look for new jobs. I said, you ought to contact Dr. Smith and see what he's up to. And I'm like, no, that's not your thing anymore. And then something told me Wednesday, and I was like, I ought to contact Dr. Smith. I'll get to it. Well, Saturday, out of the blue, I get an email from Dr. Smith. Hey, how you doing? How's it going? I could really use you if you're interested. And it was just like one of those things that happens in life. Now, I've had a lot of things going on in my life at the time, and it actually worked perfectly. You can call it the stars align, you can call it the universe, you can call it karma, you can call it what you want. I call it God, but I think it was the right time, and we were meant to work together. And I can tell you that Dr. Smith is the best boss I've ever had in my life. So he was working 5 days a week. One of the first things I told him, by the way, the first time I met him all those years ago, we met at Starbucks. He had a nice pressed shirt. He looked very good and nice and, wanted to hire me. I'll be honest, when I saw him a few years later, I was like, oh boy, what happened to this guy? He was tired. His eyes were droopy. He looked like, oh my gosh, sorry, Dr. Smith, but it's true. And I was like, I don't know, maybe this is not the right choice. What's going on with this guy? But we talked and talked, and I knew it was the right thing. And one of the first things I said is, you get 3 days, that's it. You're not overworking yourself. You're going to kill yourself. Stop it. 3 days. And of course, Dr. Smith, being Dr. Smith, said, I'll work Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I didn't even understand at the time how amazing that was that he was willing to do that shift, but he was. But now he's out of the chair. He hasn't seen patients regularly. And I think it's been over a year. Has it been over a year? Something like that? I'll tell the story quick so I can get Trista to her break on time. But when COVID hit, Dr. Smith, I don't remember if he actually got COVID or someone in his house was sick. So we said, you know what? The whole plan was to get you out of the chair. Let's take a test run. You stay home. We'll fill it with other people. We'll get it done. Now, Dr. Smith averaged, now he does orthodontics and a lot of other stuff. And no, he is not coming back to work, but he legitimately averaged almost $40,000 a day in production. There's no dentist in the world that can do that. And I remember working one day when we couldn't get any staff to come in COVID, and our 7 p.m. extraction, the tooth was numb at 6:55, and the patient was out, 6:55, the patient was out the door at 7:10. So that's right there, Superman, whatever you want to call it. No one else can do that. So now I have to replace that production and still pay him. And so we're like, let's give it a test run. So I think we did it for about a month. And then we asked him to come back and help out because things were getting tight with getting doctors. And I'll never forget that day. We had a packed schedule. And I was there helping. We didn't have a lot of staff again, so I put my scrubs on and was acting like the best assistant I could. I think I was better at getting coffee than anything else, but I see him walk out of a room like this. No, it wasn't funny. It wasn't funny. He was trying to do, I think, a third molar extraction. It was about 9 a.m. It was a Saturday, and he was sweating, and he could not walk. He just did something to his back. And I said, go sit down. I talked to our manager, go call someone from the bench. We need a doctor. Don't let that happen to you. Don't let that happen to you. That moment I knew we had to get him out. He couldn't practice anymore, and I had to find some way to do it. I didn't care how, we had to find some way to do it, but that was why he hired me. That was my commitment to him. Now, I will say, on one happy moment, he did make a cameo appearance. We had did I lose my slide? I thought there was another slide in there. I must have lost it. Okay, well, he did make a cameo appearance, and we were backed up on ortho patients because we couldn't get enough doctors to do orthodontics. So he came in one day. It was July 30th, 2021, and we had set up all these ortho starts for him, and it wasn't too bad of a day. We produced $103,451.50. So, not too shabby for a day's work. But we did take a picture. I guess we missed it. But anyway, as we go, for Dr. Smith's success, how he defined it, he wanted to get out of the chair. That's what he tasked me with doing. Now, Dr. Smith lives on, is it close to 100 acres now? I think he just got a little more land. He's got all these different animals, and he loves to be outside and do that sort of thing. That's That's his vision of success. Some of you, it may be the Bahamas, like John says, but you've got to decide what it is for you, and then you've got to do what it takes to get there. So what is it? Is it higher production? Does that make you successful? Efficiency, do you feel successful if you're efficient? Growth, more practices, or getting out of the chair? You just have to find out what it is and find a way to do it. And then once you know what you want, you got to decide, and then you have to be willing to do what it takes. If you say, I want this success, I want this higher production, but I'm not willing to do assisted hygiene, I'm not willing to open up late hours, well, it's going to be much more difficult. Impossible? No. Much more difficult. But I can tell you, you do have to make that decision. And I think both Mandy and Christy really hit it hard. You have to start with why. It's a great book. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. If you know what you're doing and know why you want to do it, then what you're willing to do and what you're not willing to do might be very different. So let's talk a little bit about results, because that's what we all care about, right? We want to see the numbers. We want to see the growth. No one wants to hear me talk. So here's our overall company growth. So April 2019 is the month before I started with Dr. Smith, and he entrusted me with the reins of the company. By the way, here's the reason, one of the reasons why Dr. Smith is the best to work for in the world, because he saw the results. He saw some success happening in the first 3 months. I'll never forget, I think it was the third month I was there, and the company had a real struggle with collections. And money was tight, and it turned out that whoever was running the books before me decided that, by the way, I'm a recovering CFO, so if I start talking numbers and your eyes glaze over, just grab me later. I'll try and say it differently. But there's a difference between cash and accrual accounting. Cash accounting is the cash in the door, cash out the door. So because of that, the numbers looked better than they were because they weren't paying bills. And we had back taxes and vendors we owed over $1 million to. So the numbers looked okay, but we owed a lot of money. Well, we got that all cleaned up in a matter of months and fixed it, and we were able to move forward. But anyway, I'll never forget, I think it was June of 19, I walked in his office, I said, Dr. Smith, we collected $750,000 this month. And he went, oh, thank you. And then, I mean, since then, we've had as high as 1.4 million in collections, so huge changes over the years. New patients are up, hygiene visits are up. Oh, now I understand. This is the wrong version of my slideshow. That's okay. We'll make it work. Athens de novo stats and trends. 2018, we opened in November. Average production, 311,000 a month. July 2021, we did 880,000 in production. Yes, 880,000 in production. That is net production. That is collectible production. And we had actually 752 new patients. All right. No, that was just one location. So I had a couple other slides inserted here that are not there for whatever reason. But I wanted to show, there's two things I wanted to show. So Athens in 2019 had a rough production average of about in the $430,000 range per month. 2020 was almost 500, and then 2021, our current rolling 3-month average is about 780. And I really wish those slides were here because it's so much better on the visual. But on top of that, you can see that it all happened because of the increase in hygiene visits. So when you talk about KPIs, there's leading indicators and there's trailing indicators. So production is a trailing indicator. You count it up after the fact, and that's what happened. Well, hygiene is a leading indicator for production all the time, every time. And I really wish you could have seen it because it's really different to see it there. So the Lilburn location, that was one of our small locations. When we started, it had 4 chairs. Well, now it has 6 chairs. When I started, it was open about 3 days a week. Now it's open 7 days a week. So we took the same location. We're not paying doctors anymore because we're paying a percentage of collections. We went from roughly $70,000 a month in production. Our rolling 3-month average now is $209,000 in production in the Lilburn location, and we're now open 7 days a week. I was able to speak in Orlando, and one of the things I said we were working on in Orlando was to be open 7 days a week in all locations. I can happily tell you that all our locations are open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Yes, people come at 8 a.m. on Saturday. Yes, people come at 7 p.m. on Sunday. Yes, people come before church. Yes, people come after church. Those appointments fill. They are absolutely red starburst, and people grab them up, and they love them. All our locations open 7 days a week. Savannah, we're going to take the plunge. We're going to be a Bass Pro Shop, just like John tells us. Right now, even though we're still a couple months out, we've got 2 doctors hired, and we plan to have 2 more doctors hired before we even open the doors. I want John to buy me that beer so we can get $1 million in production in our first month in Savannah. The only problem is you're going to have to take me to Universal and make it a butter beer because I don't drink. But we're going to make that happen. So Lilburn went, again, and if you saw the slide, Lilburn went from 70,000 to 100,000 to, it just kept going up. And then you also see the hygiene visits. They went up with it. You've got to get the prime time hygiene appointments in. That is when it all happens. Hartwell I want to talk about for one moment before we keep going. So Hartwell office was doing pretty good, and you can see some growth. And then we wanted to find another Dr. Smith. We wanted a Ferrari. If you don't know what I'm talking about, ask Justin Koch. He has some great data and slides on this. A Ferrari is a doctor that produces a lot of money, does a lot. So we found us a good Ferrari doctor, great guy, great clinician, and he was producing almost $20,000 a day regularly by himself. Well, what happened? He decided to move on. And I don't know if you guys know where Hartwell, Georgia is, but it's a hard place to hire for. Our production, we had our highest month ever in March of 21 at 433,000. He left at the end of the month. Our next month, 170,000. We put all our eggs in this one basket. We wanted this Ferrari, and when he left us, it was a rough time. Well, now we are open 7 days a week in Hartwell. We have 3 full-time doctors there. I would say a couple of them are close to Ferraris, but now, this month, we're projected to do 415,000. Instead of 1 full-time doctor and another one working 1 day a week, we now have 3 full-time doctors. You need to ask Justin more about that. So be careful how you do things. Be careful who you trust, and be careful putting all your eggs in one basket. So here, this is a picture of our call center before we made some big changes. On the left there, our scheduling center, what's that, like a 12 by 15 room maybe? We had 8 people. Yes, they were not bunk bed desks, but there were 8 desks in there, and they were answering phones, and you could hear them chew and eat and talk on the phone to everyone else. And that there was our billing department, and yeah, we had 4 desks in there too. We were getting cramped. We had to get some infrastructure for this growth that Dr. Smith wanted. And so now what do we have? We have a 6,000 square foot office, and this is actually in a mall in Athens, Georgia. Why? Because it was sort of the mall was starting to get empty, and they wanted admin offices in their upstairs, and we were able to negotiate some super, super good rates on the rent. And we still have people that walk by. So we have someone that sits at the front desk, and they talk to people as they walk by. 1 month, we had 100 patients scheduled just by people walking by the front desk and the front desk person saying, hey. It only takes 2 patients to pay our rent. So it worked out to be pretty good. 3 patients if you want to include the electricity. But that was our growth. I don't know if you can see in those pictures, but we've got, and in fact, we have even more cubicles now since then. I think we have close to 60 spots in there for our scheduling center and our billing department, which is now our client care department. So we've had some good growth. What are the hallmarks of Smith Dental Care? Trust, communication, culture, and our hours. So some of you may have heard me say this already, but I promise you that it's all about building trust. If you build the trust, everything else follows. If you take good care of the patients and do the small and simple things that Justin teaches us and Mandy teaches us and all the people that have been up here and John tells us to do, if you do those small and simple things and build trust, you'll be unstoppable. There's nothing you can do. So quick story about trust. I don't know if you guys know about Discount Tire. It doesn't sound like a place that would build trust. It sounds like a place that would get you good deals. But about 7 years ago, our director of operations, he told me about his friend who got tires at Discount Tire, and he was on a road trip up in Connecticut, and he got a flat tire, and Discount Tires, there wasn't one nearby, and they said, well, just go get a tire somewhere else, and when you come back, we'll fix it. Well, he drove back home. They gave him a new tire and reimbursed him for the old one. I was like, this place is interesting. So I'm super frugal, so I go to Tire Rack and find the cheapest tires and then find the cheapest person to put them on. So I go to Discount Tire, and they're like, well, don't do that. We'll just price match it. We'll give you the same tires. And of course, I'm like waiting for the kicker here, because anything to do with the automotive business, you heard about Jiffy Lube, Justin saying yesterday. I always tell our hygienists when we're hiring them, we are not the Jiffy Lube model. You will not upsell anything. In fact, we get angry if you try to upsell anything. No, we are not charging 50 cents for fluoride. Nothing. Just give them the fluoride. Build the trust. So I was a little skeptical. So after my third set of tires with them, I was on a road trip myself. And I was in Detroit, Michigan, and I needed new tires suddenly. I got the exact same, cookie cutter. When I say cookie cutter, that's not a bad thing in this case. Exact same customer service. I felt like I was talking to the same people at my hometown Discount Tire, and they took care of me. And then a month ago, again, back to Dan, he uses Discount Tire too now because of this. He got a flat tire on the way to Atlanta, taking his wife to dinner for their anniversary. He pulled into Walmart, bought a new tire, kept going, got to Discount Tire the next day. They put a brand new tire on, and they took his Walmart receipt and refunded him the money, no questions asked. I don't shop for tires anymore. I go to Discount Tire and I say, give me the best tires. That's it, because I trust them. And I trust them to do the same thing in Beaufort, Georgia, in Athens, Georgia, in Connecticut, in Detroit, because they have built this company culture of building trust. All these things that John and everyone is telling you to do on stage, they're actually simple. They're very hard to do sometimes because you have to change your mindset and change your people's mindset, but they're very simple. The difficult thing is to build that culture of trust. About communication, I don't know if some of you recognize this. Some of my people recognize this. The P is parent, the A is adult, the C is child. I think Mandy talked about this when you tell your child, just because I said so. So our communication in our company, the goal is A to A, adult to adult. It doesn't matter if you're the manager. You're not their parent. They're not your child. Adult to adult communication. What's adult communication? I feel a little disrespected. We've had this conversation 3 times about you showing up late, and today you were 10 minutes late. Tell me what's going on. That's an adult talking to another adult. A parent is, you were late again, and I'm going to write you up, and I blah, blah, blah. Or child is, well, you're late too. Okay? You laugh because we've all had these. So parent to child, parent to parent, child to child, you want to be adult to adult. And so you have to be able to communicate appropriately. I get angry sometimes when I'm in my meetings and people don't disagree with me. And I'm like, I can't be right all the time. Stop it. We're going to sit here until someone disagrees. I welcome the disagreement, and I welcome that because we do it in a respectful way as adults, and then we come to a certain conclusion about what's right. So about a year ago, when Christy, our Athens manager, started, she had 20 years of dental experience, which is amazing because she's only 23. But she had 20 years of dental experience, and she had a lot of the not Chris Ad, old school dental things in her head that we kind of had to reprogram a little bit. But she accepts most of them. She and I still have a bet. My house is on the line, actually, right now. We have a bet for my house, but it's no big deal. I know I'm right. But we had a conversation, and this was actually a question yesterday, so hopefully this will answer this question. It was a question about the checking insurance. And so I said, no, the Chris Ad way is get him in the chair, get him in the chair, get him in the chair. We're not going to check insurance. And with our billing department at the time and office, there was this big kind of like struggle. And Christy said, it just doesn't make sense. That can't be right. And I said, that's the Chris Ad way. If you can, and I literally said, if we can find data and statistics that show the Chris Ad way is wrong and different, then we're going to take it to John and we're going to have an adult discussion and we're going to figure it out. But until then, we're doing it the Chris Ad way. Well, then, of course, Dan, the director of operations, super smart guy, well, he says, well, why don't we just double check with Chris Ad? And so he calls Brian Gale, our rep, and says, hey, is this what we're supposed to do? And it turns out we were doing it wrong. We were doing it wrong. Well, guess what? That's okay, because failure is not about the number of times you don't do something right. It's not about the number of times you make a mistake. Failure is when you stop fixing the mistakes. So it turns out the Chris Ad way is don't check insurance for hygiene patients only. Get them in the chair, get them in the chair, get them in the chair, get them in the chair. When it's an exam and they're coming in pain, of course, we check their insurance. We know there's probably going to be some sort of work. We want to make sure that we get verification as soon as possible. If they're a walk-in, we have an eligibility department that does that in our centrally located place. And why? Why do we want hygiene in the chair? There was a question somewhere over here about, well, what if it's an HMO? They get angry even if they get a free cleaning. You know, we still get patients angry from time to time if they're in that situation. But I promise you, if you're honest with yourself and you actually track it, you will find that there are way more happy patients than there are upset patients. If you try to please everyone, you're going to please no one. That's just the reality. Here's what we do. We love insurance. We make all sorts of insurance work. We'll do what we can. Sit in the chair, get a cleaning. It's an HMO. You got to go to Dr. Jones next door, whatever. We don't get mad. We don't get upset that we're going to lose money on that cleaning. The truth is, overall, we don't lose money on that cleaning, and here's why. This is my perfect CEO goal. I'm not saying this is exactly how it happens, but this is what I want our GMs to be teaching and training our employees. Hey, Mr. Jones, great news. Just want to make sure, I hope you had a good experience today. There is no charge for this cleaning. Turns out you have a special insurance company that have to go to certain doctors for. We're not one of them. So we are not billing your insurance company. We're not collecting any money from them or you for it. We actually looked up 3 dentists in the area that do take your insurance. This one's 10 miles, that one's 15 miles. Here's 3 that take your insurance. If you'd like, we will call up and schedule your 6-month cleaning with them for you. Tell us which one you want. By the way, when it comes to open enrollment time, just want you to know these guys aren't open at Saturday at 7, because that's what time they're here right now. It's Saturday at 7. Next time your open enrollment comes, here's a copy of our discount plan. I think if you'll look this over, you'll actually see that this will probably save you money, and then you can come to us. What time do you get off work? Oh, perfect. We can take you after work every time. If you have a conversation like that, you'll pick up more people than will be angry. You really will. And those people tell their friends. Friends always tell their friends. It's just the way it is. But you'll definitely pick up more than you lose. All right. So living our motto, customer, company, build trust. So our people in our entire organization are empowered to make decisions on their own. The old way of doing things is a totem pole. A front desk employee has a question. They ask their lead. Their lead says, just a second. They go run around the place 3 times to find their manager, who goes and emails their GM. Well, their GM waits 2 days till they're going to meet with the director of operations, and then he calls me, and then we meet, and then I talk to Dr. Smith and Ashley Smith, and then we go pray and decide on what the answer is. Well, 3 weeks later, we get back to them and say, oh, sure, you can give a $5 off that copay because the patient, doesn't have the money. Go ahead and see them. Really? It's 3 weeks later. And you're also giving the message that you have no power to do anything and you're just a lemming. So how do we do that? We empower everyone to make decisions. way this works is very scary at first. And to be honest with you, it's probably more scary for your employees than you as leadership. But the way it works, you have to hold them accountable. Positive accountability. So we had this recently. We use Slack as well. Someone mentioned that yesterday. It's a very good communication tool. Someone said, hey, do we give a military discount? And this is on a Saturday, and over a 2-hour period, there were like 15 different answers of whether or not we had a military discount. So number one, me as the leader, I'm like, I guess people don't know that we have a military discount. We need to reiterate that and do a better job of telling people about that. Well, this is what needs to happen. If you are front desk or anyone in the whole organization, we have processes that should work 95% of the time. If you want to get a process to work 100% of the time, if it ever works 100% of the time, then somebody's lying to you, because it just doesn't. That's not the way it works. It never, ever, ever works 100% of the time. If you have employees that are showing you a process that works 100% of the time, they're hiding the other 5% for whatever reason, or if there's another reason why it's not working. So processes should work 95% of the time. When they don't work, you empower those people to make a decision, okay? How many of you have had something silly like you get a phone call like, hey, the toilet's leaking. Hey, the air conditioning's not working. What do I do? Has anyone gotten a call like that? Okay, from your staff? Okay. What do you do at your house? What do you do at your house? If your AC stops working, you pick up the phone and call the AC repair guy. If your sink's leaking or your toilet's running, what do? You call a plumber. You reach under there and you turn the water off. But somehow when we get to work, we get dumb. We train our employees to get dumb. We train them to only do what we tell them to do. Let me tell you something. If you don't allow employees to think for themselves, if you train them to be dumb, well, I know where the water shut off is at my house, but at work, I don't know where it is. If you don't allow them to think for themselves and use their very smart brains, then they will do what they think they heard you say. How many times as leaders do we see someone doing a process like, who told you to do that? Well, you did, because they misunderstood. We have bad communication. Most issues in business happen because of poor communication. It's just what I've seen over the years. So, first of all, I only hire smart people, so it's easy to let them use their own brains. So congratulations to everyone in this room that works for Smith Dental Care. You are the smartest people. Thank you. So let them make a decision. Here's how it works. It is my first day on the job, and I'm at the front desk, and somebody says, do you give a military discount? I don't know. No. You know what? I'm not sure if we do, but I'm going to give you 10% today, and then I'm going to let you know later on if we do, but at least today you're going to get 10%. You have to think about the messages that we're sending to patients. The message you just sent to a patient is that person is smart and has the ability and power to take care of you as a patient. Okay, now here's where the accountability comes in. Anytime we go out that 5%, or anytime we're new and we don't have a question, as soon as you do something, you immediately go to your manager and say, hey, they asked if we had a military discount. I don't know, I gave them 10%, and just want to let you know I did that. Manager's going to say, thank you for thinking customer first, company second, and building trust. The answer is giving a military personnel in your practice, giving them a discount, is that good for the customer? Absolutely. Is that good for the company? Yeah, because what do they have? They have other friends that are in the military, okay? And they tell them to come see you when you give them a discount. And does it build trust? If you can answer those 3 questions and explain that to a manager, then you have the power to do it. Okay? Now, the manager's going to say, hey, thank you. You're right. That's good for the customer. That is good for the company. You know what, though? It's actually 5% that we give. So in the future, just give 5%. Now what do we have? We have an adult-to-adult, non-confrontational learning opportunity. This person can, if the patient's still there, they can walk in the room, or if they're not there, they can call them on the phone and say, great news, you still got 10% off today. In the future, our military discounts 5%. Tell your friends we love you. You just empower them to be the best marketing tool in the world, and that's taking care of the customers you have and bringing back repeat business. Now let's suppose that one of the people you hired, you thought they were super smart, and they come to you and they say, they asked for a military discount, so I gave them 70%. Okay? Well, you laugh. It could happen. How many of you would get angry if that happened? Be honest. Come on. You wouldn't get angry? All right, well, I don't believe that. I'm going to have to get John to do a Northwestern study on this so I get the real answer. But you might be a little upset. The way our team works, the way our management team works is, explain to me why you think that was good for the customer. Well, easy, 70% discount. Explain why you thought that was good for the company. Okay. Did it build trust? Maybe. Probably not, actually. Because now you're saying we charge too much if we can give you a 70% discount. So what do? Praise them for trying to use the system, and then we redirect them. You know what? In the future, it's 5%. Now you have, your whole HR accountability. If next week they give another 70% discount, it's going to be, hey, didn't we talk about this last week? And then a week after that, another 70% discount. You're not going to do that again because that doesn't work. So you can still go through the process as an adult, and someone can still lose their job for using this inappropriately. It seems scary, but most of those 70% discount scenarios, and I use that as an extreme situation, most of those happen once. And if you see 500 patients a month, that once is not going to kill you. But the trust that you build and the respect that you build with the employees will last much longer. So that's how we do things. All right, I'm going to have to speed through this, Trista. I'm with you. I'm going to get you to that break. So hours. Let me tell you that if there's one small and simple thing that you can do, if you are not open in those prime time hours, get open. Everyone has a little bit different variation of it. But when I tell people we're open 8 to 8, 7 days a week at all 4 of our current open locations, they're like, really? Even on Sunday? Even on Saturday? Yeah. Guess what? They're full. They're full. They're busy. But it has to be when it's convenient for the patient, period. We are in a consumer-driven world, and it's getting more and more and more that way through the generations. Got to be there when it's available for them. I have a dream that someday soon will be like 6 to 10 and work shifts. I just got some evil eyes from my employees, but we'll see how that works. They define your customer base. Absolutely 100%. If they can come at 10:30 on a Tuesday, which is the time that John uses as the number one, if they can come 10:30 on a Tuesday, they're not going to be a great patient. You've got to have your hours of operation down right. It's going to really stink if you go make that change. And like Mandy said, don't go home and tell everyone, we're now opening 6 to 10, and that's what we're doing. If you don't frame it the right way and start with the why, then you might get some angry people. I will tell you this, though. I absolutely, absolutely applaud the courage of Christy and Mandy. Do you know how hard it is when it's so hard to hire hygienists and you need assistance and you have 3 hygienists come back to you and say, we want our jobs back? Do you know what courage it takes to say no? My company culture is more important. I knew a guy once that used to say, a warm body is better than no body. Not true. Not true. If I go to my GMs and I say, hey, you had a rough hygiene month. Why are the numbers so far down? If they say, I interviewed 10 hygienists this month, 3 of them didn't want to work the hours, 2 of them couldn't carry on a sentence, and the other ones just won't live our company culture, I'm going to praise them for having a low hygiene month because they are protecting our company culture. They are protecting our hours. One bad apple, one apple that you say, sure, you can work till 7:30. It's okay. You need to go do this and that. We'll let you do that because you want a warm body. A warm body is not better. It's not. You need someone that lives your company culture. It takes courage, it takes risk, but you've got to hire the right people from the beginning. And you've got to set the expectation, as Mandy very eloquently said. It's okay. When I started at Smith Dental, and we were accentuating the primetime hours, they were kind of there, but we weren't really focusing on them. I was in our quarterly employee meeting, and I said, guys, look, if this doesn't work for you, that's okay. I still love you. We're not going to let you go. In fact, this is what we'll do. I'll pay for a search firm to help you find a new job. You continue to work here, and then we'll find you a job that works better with your hours. I wasn't going to just cut them off and fire them and kick them to the curb. I, in a respectful way, was saying, hey, this is what we're doing, and I realize you work here. You've been working here for 15 years, but this is what we're doing, and if you can't do it, I'll help you find something else. I tell people, our people work 3 8-8 shifts. That's full time. By the way, we do have 401k, dental, yeah, we have mental health too. Dental, vision, medical, 401k, and yes, we have an employee assistance program where you can get mental health visits. So, but we offer good benefits, and there were a couple people that left. Some not in such a nice manner, and some in a nicer manner. The next employee meeting, I had a hygienist come to me and say, you know, I was a little offended when you said that, but now that I've been doing it for 3 months, thank you for that. I respect you for that, and I really appreciate you giving us that opportunity. Hire the right people. The hours matter. You can hire the right people that don't have dental experience. In fact, where's my, by the way, thank you all for sitting in front. Smart people sit in the front. Okay. Raise your hand if you're one of my people and when you started working you had 0 dental experience. Oh my gosh, that's everyone. Do you work for me? Oh. I mean, we are hiring, but raise them. Everyone raise them up. So I have 22 staff here. All these people had no dental experience. And you saw the growth. You saw the numbers, okay? You need the right people that fit your culture. I mean, you need some people with dental experience, but we'll train you. We'll train you to be crazy, right, Christy? We can do that. But you've got to find the right people that are willing to work the hours and that have the same beliefs and the same culture. It is vital. The culture is the strategy, and the strategy is the culture every time. All right. This is just some examples of other I love going to a website and it says convenient hours. Open 9 a.m. to noon, closed for lunch, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Who's that convenient for? Your tummy? Your golf game? Okay, so these are just some examples. Or here's the other one. Don't confuse patients. I get that some people are open less hours on the weekend, but for us, it's about no confusion. Every day, 8 to 8. No confusion. Look at this one at the top. For your convenience, our office hours at all 3 of our locations are Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and Saturday at our blank office from 9 to 1. Saturday hours are not available after Memorial Day in May through Labor Day in September. You're invited to contact our office during these hours to schedule an appointment, blah, blah, blah. So, do I wear white to an appointment or don't? I always get that mixed up. Is it Labor Day? I don't know. Thank you for some of you getting that joke. You're confusing people. You're confusing people. Just get the hours, stick to them, and make them huge and prominent on your billboard, on your website. We love you. Come when it's convenient for you, not convenient for our white parties or whatever this is all about. I don't know. Prime time hours, I sort of agree a little bit more with Christy. We say they're more 4 to 9:30. Maybe it's because some of our locations like Athens have a big student population, so maybe students come in then. But you've got to focus on the primetime hours. We've heard about it. Phone calls, always answer the phone with a smile. They can tell. Even though you're on the phone, they can tell by the way you talk if you're smiling or not. And get those, we all know this proper greeting stuff. Chris teaches that. So these are our green light gurus. So, 3 of the 5 people in that picture on the left are here today. So we do fun things. We have a big bulletin board. When they get a green light, we decorate their office and they get a green tiara. It's not a crown, it's a tiara. I have the crown. It's an office inside joke, but always try and do it within 48 hours or less. Don't offer 10 o'clock on Tuesday. Let them beg for that appointment. I promise there's a couple people out there that will beg for it, and you'll give it to them. This is a coined phrase by Dan Bryan, our director of operations. You're allowed to wow. Wow the patients every time. Wow them with the schedule, then hand it off to the office. Oh, you're going to Athens? That is our newest office. It's beautiful. You're going to love it. Genesis is at the front desk. She's always smiling. And, oh, you're going to see Tiffany. Great hygienist. Do those handoffs. Wow people everywhere. Another great book to read if you're readers is, my mind went blank. Matt, what's the book I just read? What? Raving Fans. Raving Fans. Great book. I'd love to talk about it, but I don't have time. All right, great heroes have dusty capes. What does that mean? Okay? How many of you, and don't raise your hand if this is you, we don't want to embarrass you, but how many people you know, other people, other managers, you know someone that always flies in and has a cape and they're ready to save the day? Hygiene schedule screwed up today. I got this. I can fix it. Whatever, you fill in the blank. Someone forgot to close last night. Nobody cleaned last night. Oh, I got this. I am a hero. I am the manager, and I am a hero. I can do this. We love to solve problems. You know, it gets so bad that there's actually people out there that will create problems just so they can fly in with their cape and save the day. The greatest heroes have dusty capes. Why is that? Because you don't need it. Because you set up a process that works 95% of the time, and you empowered your people to think on their own to make the correct decision for the customer, for the company, and building trust. When you're pulling out your cape, it's because you have planned and prepared and you have done everything you need to do, and someone else screwed up. And so now you have to save the day. Let your cape be dusty. If you're saving the day all the time, rethink what you're doing. If you have people that are saving the day all the time, rethink what they're doing. Trust the process. All right, the secret to unlock success. So John talks about being a combination lock, and if you don't get all 10 numbers, then you're not going to open the safe. I respectfully disagree a little bit. I think the biggest detriment to our greatness is sometimes success. You have success and you celebrate. So now you think you're great. Well, if we would have done that a couple of years ago when our Athens office was producing 400,000, which is pretty amazing. 400,000 a month for an office is great. If we would have just patted ourselves on the back and how successful we were, we would have never gotten better. And we will continue to get better. So sometimes the biggest hindrance to greatness is success. You see some success and you're happy with it and you get comfortable. So I think it's a little different. So I am a baker. I don't know if anyone else bakes, but if you need to know the chocolate chip cookie recipe, I have it memorized, okay? I don't even use cup measures. I just throw my hands in there and do it. Interesting thing, you can give 10 people the same chocolate chip cookie recipe, and you get 10, 15 different kinds of cookies here, okay? That one, not enough flour, too much flour, overbaked. You beat the egg. The butter was melted, not melted. You used cake flour, use bread flour, use a different brand brown sugar. All these sort of things, and you'll get a different cookie. So for me, it's less of you got to get all 10, and you have all the ingredients, but you still have to apply them and mix them in the right way. And the way we do that at Smith Dental is with our culture and with the way that we treat our people. So you might be saying, oh, you told me add 1 cup of flour, and you told me add 3/4 cup of brown sugar, and add 3/4 cup. Why does my cookie look like this? Something might be missing. It happened in our Anderson office a little over a year ago. Turns out the managers were telling us they were doing the Chris Adway, but when we dug deep, they weren't at all. And it was interesting because that office was trending down in production, and all our other 3 offices were trending up. Well, it turned out they weren't putting the baking soda in, and the cookie wasn't rising, and it didn't work. So it is what it is. So, man, I wish we had the other presentation. So, what are you laughing at?
Good to see you.
You don't think those cakes look the same? They're both pink. There's pink starburst in there. We put the prime time like you told us. Come on. So I wish we had the right presentation. So I actually am a baker, and I actually make cakes like this. And I had like 4 or 5 pictures that I was going to share. I did not make these cakes. But that's the same thing, isn't it? We put Reese's Pieces and peanut butter cups on top like you told us, John. Well, why isn't it working? What's going on? So this is the best right here. That one's good. I like that one. Oh, here's my cakes. So I've made these cakes. These are mine. So my favorite is the Thomas the Tank Engine cake. By the way, everything's edible. I don't make it unless it's edible. Thomas the Tank Engine is my favorite. The popcorn I just made last month for my daughter's 10th birthday. But you can give someone a picture, you can give someone the exact ingredients, and you can still end up with something like this. So, if you were the person yesterday that had a question about insurance, if you were the person that had the question about hygiene or all these things, ask these questions. I'll tell you what, your Chris Ad rep will have the answer, and if they don't, they will get it for you. Corey, I've called him before. I don't know the answer, but I'm going to get it for you, and he calls me back and gets it. So I think it's less of a get all 10 numbers and you open the safe, and I think it's you've all got the same ingredients, but somehow you're applying them in a different way, and it's not coming out the way it's supposed to. So we talked about Anderson. That was the trending the wrong way. Customer service, John talked about it yesterday, super important. I don't think there's anything else we're going to really add to here. Well, I'll go back to that slide real quick. Whenever something good happens, you always celebrate it, okay? With the Generation Zers and some millennials today, they go to the bathroom, you have to celebrate it, yay! You came to work on time, yay! But you always celebrate, and then you have to contemplate and then create positive change. Just because hygiene grew this month, if that's all you focus on, what happens if hygiene grew but you didn't do exams on all of them? So celebrate the hygiene growth, look at it, contemplate what happened, and create positive change. I just found out this morning that some of our hygiene patients are not getting exams. And I took a deep breath and was like, okay, we're going to create positive change on that one. We'll do it later. Employee customers. So everyone is your customer. Your boss is your customer. Your employee is your customer. The FedEx guy is your customer. The AC guy. Let me ask you a question. If your AC goes out and your doctor's sweating and your patients aren't happy and everything sucks, if your AC guy shows up and you're like, finally, will you get this stupid thing fixed, you jerk? You're 3 hours late. What's going to happen next time it breaks and he sees Smith Dental on the list? Oh, bottom. Or how about this? He is 3 hours late because he was super busy. He walks in the door and you say, I'm so glad you're here. You look hot. Can I get you a water? Have you eaten lunch? Here's the AC unit. What do you need? What do you need? I'm going to take care of you. Here's some water. Hey, I'm going to get you lunch. I don't want lunch. I'm going to get it anyway. Take it with you. You want some cookies to go? If you treat them, what's next time they see Smith Dental Care call on the list? Boom, goes to the top. Atlanta Dental fixes all our stuff.
You're amazing.
I love buying those guys lunch because when they see us, they come to the front. We get our stuff fixed first. So everyone's your customer. Customer's not always right. If your employee's your customer, they're not always right because they want to leave an hour early, but they are always valued. They are always important. And you need to help your employees with opportunities to grow, even if it's with you or not dental related. It's not rocket science. Don't reinvent the wheel. Take those ingredients that John and Mandy and Dr. Koenig and everyone else who's going to speak here, take those ingredients, and when your cake doesn't look like the model, don't get angry. Celebrate that you made a cake, then contemplate, talk to your rep, and they'll help you create some positive change. I will say this real quick. none of us get paid to speak here. So this is how great of a marketing company ChrisAd is. They actually have all these speakers that are their clients. We pay them, and they get us to come speak and tell how great they are. I mean, that's something, right? Usually you speak at a conference, you get a per diem or something. But that's the power of the small, simple system that they have. They've done the research for years and years and years, 42 years. And I know some of you may be angry. I'm the guy that got up yesterday and said, all you hygienists, 90% of people don't remember your name, and you guys are all like, yes, they do. Well, the research says they don't. And we tend to believe the ones that do remember us, or we prompt them, hey, you remember me, right? Starts with a K, right? It's no blame or shame. It's no sadness that they don't remember your name. But the truth is, they'll remember the trust. They'll remember how you make them feel. They won't remember your name, and that's okay. That's okay. All right, marketing is not a strategy. Wait a minute, you just said ChrisAd's a good marketing company. They're more of a data analytics company, in my opinion, than anything else. So all the names have been removed to protect the guilty. But our new patient acquisition cost, and this is actually about a year old, it's probably lower than this now. Our new patient acquisition cost is about $38. I think the national average is $90 or $100 for new patient acquisition. There's another ChrisAd practice who, like I said, I'm not naming names. Their patient acquisition cost is $200. Anybody know why? Why the difference? Anybody? Who said it? Hours? Yeah. They're open 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 or something like that. But they spend a lot of money on mailers, and they're pretty mailers. But that's kind of making the cake that doesn't quite taste the same way. Strategies, the culture. Oh, I can't skip this slide or Sherelle will be mad at me. Go back. Okay. Napoleon Hill apparently said this, or someone else, I don't know, but knowledge is only potential power. If you take everything that you heard today and do nothing, it's potential power. You could potentially have exponential growth. There are potentially no limits. Listen, write down one thing, no more than 2. And by the way, I am continually learning new things. I have a list 4 pages long of things that I know we have to go back to the company and work at. So get ready Monday, guys. We got a lot of stuff to work on. It's only potential power. Just take one thing. Don't try and do 100. If you try to do 100, you'll get nothing done. Kill one problem. Just kill one. Kill one issue. Implement one strategy. It might be adding that baking soda into cooking. It might taste good with that one thing. And then tomorrow, do one more thing. And then the next day, do one more thing. All right, don't forget to have fun. We started doing this thing where we're welcoming doctors in an interesting way. I'm not going to show the video because I'm out of time. But that whiteboard there, Rochelle, our HR director, she went to school to be an artist at Savannah College of Art and Design. So I went to her and I'm like, hey, can you do our logo on a whiteboard and introduce our new doctors? And she said, well, yeah. And so we did a 20-minute, it took 20 minutes for her to do, but it was a time-lapse video, and it was super cool, and we posted it on LinkedIn. That one down there is a cookie cake welcoming Dr. Vaudria, I think. We made T-shirts there for a couple of doctors coming in, but, have a little fun with what you do. There's our client care department, employee training. We do employee training meetings every 3 months. We have a lot of fun, and we always do like a life skill. Care about our employees. I think we're doing self-defense. We're going to a karate school, and we're teaching some self-defense. Have fun. Play together. Have barbecues together. Oh, we also give back. We do Toys for Tots. We do food drive. We do Toys for Tots. And so we do a raffle. Everyone who brings in a toy or a piece of food items every year, you can get $700 off your bill or a 65-inch TV. And then employees actually get the same. There's 2 separate raffles. But celebrate, have fun. That was Dr. Ellerson's anniversary, it looks like, in there. Oh, wait, got to go back. There's Rochelle. She did that. That's me and Rochelle. She did, when we went to Orlando, we beat our production goals, so we all got to go to Universal. And so that was something she did for my, does that say 40th birthday? I think that's supposed to be 30th. Well, even artists can make mistakes. But. So have fun. I don't know if we have time for questions, but I'm happy to field them if they'll let me. Okay, then.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. So we're going to have a quick break. 15 minutes, back around 11, please.